someone is coming to your door tonight. The reason will shake you, and don't scroll, listen to this, because your heart needs this right now more than you've admitted to yourself, and the moment your eyes landed on these words, something in your spirit leaned forward as if it already knew this message was meant for you. Listen to this message is for you, because the someone approaching the door of your life tonight isn't a physical knock in the dark or a stranger on your porch. It is a spiritual visitation, an emotional awakening, a divine interruption arriving with the force of destiny, and heaven has been preparing your heart for this moment through the signs you've been seeing, the emotions you've been carrying, and the intuition that's been rising louder inside you day after day. Don't scroll, your heart needs this right now, because for weeks, maybe months, you've been feeling a shift you couldn't explain, a pressure in your chest that comes and goes, a strange awareness during quiet moments, a tug toward something you cannot name, and tonight that tug comes to your door, meaning your inner threshold, your emotional entryway, the place where old cycles end and new ones begin. Listen to this, because what's coming is a revelation disguised as a visitor, a message dressed like a memory, a breakthrough wrapped in the echo of someone's energy, and the universe is saying you cannot ignore it anymore. Don't scroll, because heaven has been sending you signs. 111 when you think about starting over, 222 when your heart feels out of rhythm, 333 when your soul needs reassurance, 444 when you wonder if you're protected, 555 when the ground beneath your old life begins to tremble. And these signs didn't show up for nothing, they showed up because the most important moment of your awakening is approaching, and tonight, something knocks on the door of your awareness and asks, are you ready to receive what you've been sensing? Listen to this, your heart needs this, because the someone coming is tied to the soulmate thread that's been tugging at your emotions lately, that person whose energy keeps brushing against your spirit even when you try to explain it away, the one who appears in dreams that feel too real, whose memory hits you at strange times, whose presence you feel without their body being anywhere near you. Don't scroll, because their soul has been awakening, too. They've been feeling things they can't put into words, remembering moments that struck them deeper than they allowed themselves to admit, sensing your absence in ways they never expected, and heaven is nudging them toward an emotional truth they can no longer suppress. And tonight, through a thought, a dream, an intuitive pull, a sudden realization, they approach your door, meaning they step closer to acknowledging what their heart has been trying to say all along. Listen to this, don't scroll, because heaven wants you to know this moment is not meant to scare you but to free you. It is not an ending but an opening, not chaos but alignment. You've outgrown old patterns, old expectations, old connections that drained you, and now the universe is delivering something new, something aligned, something that meets you on the level your spirit has elevated to. Don't scroll, your heart needs this clarity, because the revelation arriving tonight will shake you not in fear but in recognition, the kind of recognition that makes everything you've been feeling click into place, the late-night emotions, the sudden waves of intuition, the strange sense that someone is thinking of you, the feeling that your story with a certain person isn't finished yet. Listen to this, because heaven is saying the knock you feel tonight is the beginning of truth rising, masks falling, hearts softening, and connections being rewritten on a higher vibration. Don't scroll, because the universe is positioning you for a breakthrough in understanding, a shift in perspective, an emotional release that clears room for the blessings waiting on the other side of your healing. The visitor approaching your inner door isn't danger, it's destiny. It's the moment when your intuition becomes undeniable, when your soul recognizes the next chapter before your eyes do, when the universe whispers, "This is why you had to endure everything you did." And if your chest feels tight right now, if your heart is beating a little faster, if something inside you is saying, "This is me," then listen, because that reaction is the knock. Your awareness tonight will open a door you didn't even know you were ready to unlock, and what enters will change the way you see everything. Don't scroll, listen to this, because part 2 of this message is moving into the deepest layer of what your spirit has already been sensing, and your heart needs this right now because the arrival happening in your life is not a simple emotional moment. It is a divine turning point, a spiritual doorway swinging open after months of inner turbulence, hidden signals, and quiet awakenings that you tried to ignore but never truly escaped. Listen to this message is for you, because the someone approaching your door in this chapter represents a truth that has been circling your life like a quiet storm, gathering strength, gathering clarity, gathering momentum, and tonight, whether through a dream, a memory, an unexpected feeling, or a sudden intuitive hit, that truth will tap on the door of your spirit with a force that shakes everything you thought you understood. Don't scroll, your heart needs this, because what's coming is the emotional confirmation you've been waiting for, the closure you didn't know you needed, the awakening you didn't realize you were preparing for, and heaven has been aligning you with this moment piece by piece, sign by sign, shift by shift. Think back. Remember the nights when you felt restless for no reason, the moments when your spirit felt heavy even though your day was normal, the times when someone's name popped into your mind out of nowhere, the dreams that felt more like messages than imagination. Those experiences weren't accidental. They were spiritual foreshadowing. Listen to this, don't scroll, because heaven has been working behind the scenes to lift you out of an emotional cycle that drained you, a cycle built around assumptions, silence, confusion, or misalignment, and now the universe is sending a knock that represents release, clarity, truth, and understanding. But here's where it goes deeper. Someone's spirit has been moving toward you, not physically, but emotionally, intuitively, subconsciously. This person has been feeling an undeniable pull toward you, even if they haven't reached out, even if they've stayed silent, even if they've been pretending to be fine. Heaven has been stirring their heart, unraveling their fears, confronting their avoidance, and now their soul is inching closer to your emotional doorway. They are thinking about what they never said, remembering what they never resolved, feeling what they once tried to bury. Don't scroll, your heart needs this clarity, because this awakening inside them isn't happening at random, it's happening because your spirit has elevated to a frequency where truth rises naturally, where illusions can't hold on anymore, where real connection becomes impossible to deny. Listen to this, because as their spirit approaches the door, your intuition will feel it. You'll feel a warmth, a pressure in your chest, a sudden sense that something is shifting, a moment where time feels heavier or slower, and that feeling is heaven whispering, "Pay attention." But don't misunderstand. This isn't just about someone realizing their feelings, it's about your soul stepping into alignment with what you truly deserve. You've been healing. You've been growing. You've been releasing old versions of yourself, old wounds, old patterns, and heaven is honoring that by guiding you toward emotional truth, not emotional confusion. Don't scroll, listen to this. Because the knock on your door represents a crossroads, the moment where the past cannot pull you backward anymore, and the future begins to reveal itself through intuition rather than uncertainty. The universe is asking you to stay aware, stay open, stay grounded, because what's coming next will bring clarity to questions you've carried too long. And here's the deeper revelation. Your soulmate connection, whether known or unknown, has been igniting behind the scenes, and every time you felt a sudden wave of emotion that didn't feel like your own, every time you felt a presence with no logical explanation, every time your mind drifted to someone without reason, that was spiritual resonance. It was their soul brushing against yours, knocking softly, asking for recognition, asking for healing, asking for release or reconciliation depending on the path heaven is shaping between you. Don't scroll, this message is unfolding for you, because tonight isn't about fear, it's about revelation. Something will hit your spirit in a way that makes everything make sense. Why you had to let go, why certain people drifted, why you felt drawn to someone even when it confused you, why your intuition has been louder lately. Heaven is saying you are stepping into emotional maturity, spiritual grounding, and energetic alignment all at once, and the truth that arrives tonight, the message, the realization, the intuitive download, will shake you because it will confirm what your soul has known but your mind questioned. Don't scroll, your heart needs this, because this moment is not about returning to the past, it's about understanding the past so you can step into your future fully awake. The knock on your door is not an intrusion, it's an invitation. An invitation to clarity. An invitation to healing. An invitation to alignment. And as you step into this night, your spirit will feel the shift before your mind can name it. You will know. You will sense. You will feel. And the universe will whisper, "This is the moment we prepared you for." Don't scroll, listen to this, because part 3 is where the energy of this message deepens, sharpens, and unfolds in a way your heart has been waiting for. Your heart needs this right now more than you know, because the spiritual arrival heading toward you is no longer just approaching, it is pressing against the threshold of your awareness, asking to be let in, asking to be acknowledged, asking to be understood. And tonight your spirit will feel it more intensely than ever before. Listen to this message is for you, because the universe has been quietly rearranging the pieces of your emotional life, shifting connections, dissolving illusions, exposing hidden intentions, opening pathways you once thought were closed, and every one of those shifts has been guiding you toward this exact moment, the moment when what has been rising beneath the surface finally begins to reveal itself. Don't scroll, because heaven is saying the knock you've been feeling on your inner door is not a coincidence. It is the sound of truth traveling toward you at a speed your mind wasn't prepared for but your spirit has been expecting. You've felt it building. The way your intuition has been louder lately, the way random thoughts feel like messages, the way memories resurface without warning, the way your chest tightens at the idea that something or someone is coming back into energetic alignment with you. This isn't fear. This isn't anxiety. This is divine anticipation. Listen to this, your heart needs it, because the person whose energy has been approaching your inner doorway is someone whose soul hasn't forgotten you. Not your kindness, not your depth, not your spirit, not your emotional imprint, and heaven has been working on them, softening them, awakening them, deconstructing the walls they built around their feelings. You may not see any physical signs yet, but spiritually everything is shifting rapidly. Their dreams have been heavier, their thoughts more intrusive, their emotions more restless, and heaven has been stirring their heart in ways they didn't expect but can no longer deny. Don't scroll, because this is where the revelation sharpens. The visit, coming to your inner door isn't always a person physically returning, it can be their truth finally confronting them, their heart finally speaking louder than their fear, their soul finally acknowledging the connection they pretended to overlook. And tonight, something, an insight, a dream, a sudden emotional wave, will bring their energy closer to your awareness than it has been in months, maybe years. Listen to this, your heart needs this understanding, because heaven is saying that before a new chapter opens between two souls, there must be an internal opening first. That knock on your emotional door is their internal awakening echoing into your spiritual space. It's the moment when their soul whispers your name not out of longing alone, but out of recognition. The recognition that you were meant to play a deeper role in their story than they allowed themselves to admit. Don't scroll, because heaven is highlighting something important. While their awakening intensifies, your own awakening deepens as well. You've been shedding old fears, old patterns, old versions of yourself that tolerated too little and gave too much. You've been rising into clarity, into power, into emotional sovereignty. And because of this elevation, you are now vibrationally aligned with truths that once would have scared you, confused you, or overwhelmed you. You are finally ready. Spiritually ready, to receive the message heaven has been preparing you for, and that message will arrive through intuition before it ever arrives through conversation. Listen to this closely, this message is for you. The knock at your inner door is the moment of recognition between your soul and theirs, the moment when the spiritual tension becomes undeniable, the moment when the universe whispers, "Prepare yourself, what you've been sensing is real." You may find yourself thinking about them suddenly tonight, feeling a heaviness or warmth in your chest, seeing angel numbers that confirm connection, 222 for emotional alignment, 333 for divine involvement, 1111 for soulmate mirroring. None of this is random. These signs are heaven's way of easing your spirit into what comes next. Don't scroll, because the next part is crucial. This moment isn't just about them coming toward you. It's about you choosing whether to open the door when the truth arrives. Heaven is not forcing a reunion, not demanding an outcome, it is presenting clarity. Clarity that frees you, clarity that supports you, clarity that aligns you with your highest emotional good. And tonight, you will feel something click inside you. A moment of deep knowing, a breath you didn't realize you were holding, an emotional release that tells you the story isn't done yet, or that the truth finally has permission to rise. Listen to this, because your heart needs assurance. The universe isn't playing with your emotions, it's preparing your spirit. Everything you've been sensing, everything you've been feeling, everything that has been knocking at your inner door is part of a divine unraveling, a pathway unfolding exactly on schedule. You are not imagining the shift. You are not overthinking the signs. You are not exaggerating the intensity. This is alignment. This is awakening. This is the arrival of truth. And tonight, your spirit will hear the knock more clearly than ever, not to frighten you, but to free you. Don't scroll, the moment you've been sensing is getting closer. Don't scroll, listen to this, because what comes next carries a weight your spirit has been preparing to hold, and your heart needs this right now in ways you haven't even fully realized, because part 4 is where the message shifts from intuitive whispers to spiritual confirmation, from subtle signs to undeniable alignment, and the universe is asking you to stay present, stay open, stay grounded as this truth unfolds within you. Listen to this message is for you, because the knock at your door that has been echoing through your spirit is turning into something stronger, clearer, more insistent, not chaotic, but purposeful, and heaven is revealing that the reason this moment feels so intense is because a veil is being lifted from your life, exposing what was hidden, clarifying what was confusing, elevating what was dormant, and aligning you with your highest emotional truth. Don't scroll, your heart needs this clarity, because you have reached a point in your journey where heaven is no longer nudging you gently, it is guiding you directly, moving you toward revelations you cannot afford to overlook. You felt it, the sudden heaviness that hits you at random moments, the warmth that blooms in your chest when you think of a certain someone, the goosebumps that rise on your arms when you see angel numbers that line up with your emotions. These aren't coincidences. They're confirmations. And heaven is asking you to listen, really listen, because tonight the energy shifts in a way that will touch your spirit deeply. Don't scroll, because something in your life, something connected to a soulmate bond, a mirrored energy, a spiritual tie, is being illuminated. The person whose soul has been moving toward your emotional doorway hasn't just been thinking about you. They've been waking up to the truth of what you meant to them, what you still mean to them, and what their heart refused to let go of, even when their mind tried to convince them otherwise. Listen to this, your heart needs it, because heaven is saying that their awakening is not accidental or sudden, it has been building over time as they've confronted old wounds, faced their shadows, and realized that the connection that once scared them was the same connection meant to heal them. And while they've been awakening, so have you. You've been confronting your own patterns, your own fears, your own emotional walls, and heaven has been preparing you for the moment when your clarity and their awakening finally meet at the same spiritual doorway. Don't scroll, because this is where the message deepens. Tonight, a shift occurs where both your soul and theirs align in understanding, even if no physical conversation has happened yet. You will feel it. You will feel their energy pressing closer, not in a way that overwhelms you, but in a way that brings a strange peace, a sense of recognition, a moment where your intuition whispers, something is changing right now. It might come as a dream that feels too vivid to ignore, a memory that hits you with unexpected force, a wave of emotion that feels like it comes from outside you, or a sudden stillness that feels like heaven holding your shoulders and saying, "Pay attention." Listen to this message is for you, because heaven wants you to know that this moment is not about guessing or doubting or questioning your intuition, it's about trusting the spiritual connection that has been guiding you all along. The person whose energy is at your door tonight is someone whose soul recognizes you, recognizes your light, your impact, your purpose in their story. And their recognition is becoming stronger, more urgent, more undeniable. Don't scroll, because heaven is showing you something else. The reason this moment feels so heavy is because the universe is preparing you both for emotional revelation, the kind that brings clarity, closure, confession, or connection, but whatever form it takes, it will be truth. And truth is what your spirit has been craving. You've spent so long holding emotions you didn't have answers for, carrying memories you didn't fully understand, feeling connections you didn't know how to define. But tonight, clarity moves closer. The knock becomes louder. The veil lifts further. And heaven whispers, "You are ready." Listen to this, your heart needs this reassurance. You are not imagining the shifts. You are not misreading the signs. You are not chasing illusions. You are sensing something real, something active, something divinely orchestrated. And heaven is about to show you why everything unfolded the way it did. Why delays happened, why silence lingered, why emotions resurfaced at the moments they did. Don't scroll, because the spiritual knock at your door tonight is the universe preparing you for a breakthrough that will change the way you see yourself, your connection, your future. It is the moment when destiny moves closer, when alignment becomes tangible, when your intuition becomes confirmation. And if your heartbeat feels heavier right now, if your chest feels warm, if your spirit feels alert, it's because the message is touching the part of you that already knew this moment was coming. You are stepping into the heart of your awakening, and heaven is saying, don't look away now. Don't scroll, listen to this, because part 5 is where the energy intensifies and your heart needs this right now more than you've realized, because heaven is revealing a deeper layer of truth unfolding around you. Truth that explains the heaviness you've been feeling, the sudden spikes of intuition, the emotional waves that come out of nowhere, and the strange awareness that something significant is approaching your life with purpose, precision, and divine timing. This message is for you, so don't scroll, because the spiritual knock you've been sensing at the door of your inner world is not just about someone awakening to their feelings. It's about heaven positioning you for a moment of destiny that will shift the trajectory of your emotional journey, your relationships, your clarity, and your sense of spiritual alignment. Listen to this, your heart needs this, because the universe has been orchestrating a series of experiences recently that were never random, the sudden flashbacks of someone you thought you moved on from, the moments when your chest tightens without explanation, the dreams that feel too vivid to dismiss, the angel numbers that appear exactly when your emotions intensify. 111 when new beginnings breathe near you, 222 when emotional balance is being restored, 444 when protection surrounds your heart, 555 when change becomes unavoidable. Heaven is saying these weren't coincidences. They were signals pointing to a truth rising beneath the surface of your connection with someone whose soul has been approaching your energy with growing urgency. Don't scroll, listen, because the person who has been knocking on your spiritual door is not approaching out of curiosity. They are approaching out of conviction. Their heart has been wrestling with realizations they tried to suppress, emotions they tried to bury, and truths they tried to ignore, but heaven has been peeling back those layers one by one, revealing the depth of what they feel and how much this connection has shaped them, even from a distance. And while they're awakening, something inside you has been awakening too. You've been feeling more sensitive to energy, more intuitive, more spiritually aware, as though your inner world has been preparing you for a revelation that will finally bring understanding to everything you've been sensing. Don't scroll, because heaven is showing you something vital. The emotional intensity you've been experiencing is not just yours. You've been catching echoes of their emotions, their longing, their confusion, their breakthroughs, their realizations. And your spirit has been mirroring their awakening. You've felt the heaviness because they've felt heavy. You've felt the longing because they've been longing. You've felt the sudden clarity because they've been gaining clarity. This mirroring is a sign of a soulmate or deep spiritual bond awakening on both sides simultaneously, and heaven wants you to know that when two souls align in awakening, the universe begins setting up a moment where truth must come forward. Listen to this, don't scroll, because tonight's message is about the moment before the breakthrough, the moment when the emotional pressure builds to the point where heaven steps in and says, it's time. Time for truth to rise. Time for masks to fall. Time for clarity to replace confusion. Time for alignment to replace hesitation. And the person approaching your inner door is nearing the point where their silence can no longer contain what their soul has been screaming. They've been seeing your face in dreams. They've been remembering moments they forgot they treasured. They've been noticing signs that point back to you, signs they can't dismiss anymore. They've been feeling the weight of what they never said, the ache of what they never explained, the longing for what they never resolved. And heaven has been guiding them toward the moment where they will have no choice but to confront what's been living inside their heart. Don't scroll, listen to this, because heaven is preparing you for what happens when their awakening meets your readiness. You are no longer the version of yourself who second-guessed your intuition, who questioned your worth, who settled for uncertainty. You've grown. You've healed. You've strengthened. You've stepped into a higher version of yourself that is capable of holding truth without fear, receiving clarity without anxiety, and choosing emotional alignment over emotional confusion. And heaven is saying you needed to become this version of yourself before this moment could come. Don't scroll, because the spiritual visitor approaching your inner door is bringing not just their feelings, but their clarity. Clarity about why things happened the way they did. Clarity about what they feel now. Clarity about what they want moving forward. And heaven is preparing your heart to receive that clarity, not in fear, but in peace. Not in confusion, but in understanding. Not in desperation, but in grounded emotional strength. Listen to this, your spirit needs this reassurance. What's coming is not meant to break you, it's meant to free you. Free you from unanswered questions. Free you from emotional limbo. Free you from the weight of the unknown. Heaven is saying the moment you've been sensing, the moment when everything finally comes into focus, is closer than you think. And if your chest feels warm right now, if your intuition feels activated, if something inside you is whispering, "This is speaking directly to me," then trust that. Because that feeling is the knock. And tonight, the knock grows louder. Don't scroll, listen to this, because part 6 is where the veil thins even more and your heart needs this right now in a way that goes deeper than conscious understanding, because the universe is saying you are stepping into a moment where emotional truth, spiritual awakening, and divine timing collide. And the energy approaching your life is not subtle anymore, it's intentional, it's guided, it's purposeful, and it's coming straight toward the door of your soul with a force you can feel even if you can't explain it. This message is for you, so don't scroll, because heaven is revealing that the person whose energy has been knocking at your emotional doorway is not coming empty-handed. They are carrying realizations that have been weighing heavily on them, realizations they tried to suppress, realizations that surfaced because heaven made it impossible for them to ignore the truth of what your presence meant in their life. Their heart has been waking up in stages: guilt, longing, clarity, understanding, and now they're stepping into the final stage, recognition. Recognition of how deeply they were affected by you. Recognition of how strongly their soul reacted to losing you or drifting from you. Recognition of how spiritually tied your energies still are, no matter how much time or distance has passed. Don't scroll, listen, because heaven is saying that their awakening didn't happen in a calm, predictable way. It happened in waves, in breakdowns, in emotional confrontations where they saw themselves honestly for the first time in a long time. And every time they felt overwhelmed, every time they questioned their decisions, every time they wondered why they couldn't detach from you, heaven whispered the same thing, because this connection still has purpose. And while they were awakening, you were evolving. You were healing the wounds that once made you shrink. You were learning to love yourself in ways you never knew how. You were letting go of what dimmed your light, what drained your spirit, what pulled you away from your purpose. Don't scroll, because heaven is saying your growth didn't go unnoticed in the spiritual realm. It triggered something in them. It awakened something in them. Your evolution made their soul realize how much they lost when they lost access to your energy. And now the universe is guiding them back toward the emotional doorway they once feared to knock on. Listen to this, your heart needs it, because the energy that's approaching tonight is heavy, not in a harmful way, but in a destiny-driven way. The kind of heaviness that pulls two souls closer when they've both done the inner work. The kind of heaviness that signals a breakthrough on the horizon. The kind of heaviness that says, the moment is near. Don't scroll, because heaven is revealing something deeper now. This is not just about someone returning. This is about alignment returning. Balance returning. Purpose returning. It's about heaven positioning you to receive answers, closure, truth, and direction that will shape the next season of your emotional and spiritual life. The universe is peeling away confusion, peeling away doubt, peeling away the fog that once clouded your intuition. You are no longer in the season of guessing, you are in the season of revelation. Listen to this, because your spirit has already sensed the shift. You felt the sudden calm that doesn't make sense, the waves of emotion that come from nowhere, the unexpected confidence rising inside you, the awareness that something is about to change. These aren't random sensations, they're signals of a door about to open. Don't scroll, because heaven wants you to understand that the person approaching your inner doorway has been wrestling with timing, fear, pride, and vulnerability, but their soul is finally overriding everything that once held them back. They've reached the point where silence feels heavier than honesty, where avoidance feels more painful than truth, where losing you feels more terrifying than admitting what they feel. And heaven is guiding them toward the moment where their heart becomes louder than their hesitation. Listen to this, your heart needs this reassurance. You are not waiting in vain. You are not imagining the connection. You are not misinterpreting the signs. You are picking up on a spiritual shift that is very real, very active, and very close to manifesting in the physical world. Don't scroll, because the universe wants you to recognize the power of this moment. Not as something to fear, but as something to prepare for. You are entering a chapter where truth comes forward, where the unseen becomes seen, where the emotional tension finally breaks into clarity. You may feel a sudden urge to ground yourself, to breathe deeply, to pay attention, and that's because your spirit knows what your mind is just beginning to understand. The knock on your inner door is seconds away from becoming impossible to ignore. Listen to this. Even if your mind doubts, your soul recognizes the movement. And tonight, that movement grows stronger, louder, clearer, guiding you toward a revelation that has been waiting for divine timing. Don't scroll. You're closer than ever to hearing what your heart has been waiting to understand. Don't scroll, listen to this, because part 7 is where the message reaches its peak, where the spiritual pressure you've been feeling finally reveals why it's been building, and your heart needs this right now more than you know, because heaven is saying you are standing at the edge of a life-altering moment. One that has been forming behind the scenes long before you ever sensed the first ripple of change. This message is for you, so don't scroll, because the knock at the door of your spirit is no longer symbolic, it is energetic, powerful, undeniable, and everything inside you has already been reacting to it, your intuition sharpening, your emotions rising in waves, your dreams intensifying, your thoughts drifting without permission toward a specific person, a specific memory, a specific emotional thread you thought you tucked away. Listen to this, your heart needs clarity, because the universe is saying the person connected to your energy has reached a level of internal awakening that can no longer be pushed back down. They have spent nights fighting their truth, days trying to distract themselves, moments trying to outrun the echo of your presence. But heaven has cornered their spirit with revelation after revelation, sign after sign, memory after memory, until they reached the breaking point where avoidance shattered and truth rose. Don't scroll, because heaven wants you to understand how intense this awakening has been for them. They've been feeling emotions they didn't expect to revisit, longing they didn't know was still alive, regret that hits them when the world gets quiet, and clarity arriving in flashes so strong that it stops them mid-thought, mid-task, mid-conversation. They didn't expect to feel you like this again, didn't expect your name to vibrate against their thoughts, didn't expect their soul to pull them back to the very connection they once tried to silence. But heaven never let that connection die. It protected it, preserved it, suspended it until the right moment, and now that moment is rising. Don't scroll, listen, because the universe is saying something crucial. The energy knocking at your inner door is not a message of chaos, it is a message of alignment, and the reason it feels so heavy, so emotional, so spiritually charged is because this moment determines the direction of your next chapter. You have been feeling restless lately, haven't you? Feeling like something is shifting beneath the surface of your life, something you can't see but can absolutely feel. You've been waking up at odd hours with your mind racing, feeling a sudden wave of heaviness in your chest for no logical reason, sensing that someone is thinking about you intensely, deeply, emotionally. And heaven is confirming, you're not imagining it. You're feeling the pull of their awakening. You're feeling the magnetism of two souls aligning after a period of distance, silence, or emotional confusion. You're feeling the universe preparing the ground for truth to rise. Don't scroll, your heart needs this, because the universe wants you to understand how much you've changed as well. You are not the same version of yourself who once felt fragile, uncertain, or afraid. You've grown through heartbreak, through disappointment, through spiritual stretching, through emotional lessons you didn't ask for but needed. You've become wiser, more intuitive, more discerning, more rooted in your worth. And heaven needed you to reach this level of strength before this moment could be delivered to your life. Don't scroll, because heaven is revealing another layer now. The person whose spirit is approaching your door tonight has been carrying a message in their heart. Something unspoken, something heavy, something they're afraid to say but even more afraid to keep inside. Their truth has been building like pressure behind a dam, and heaven has been loosening the emotional bolts one by one, preparing them for the moment where confession becomes inevitable. They have imagined what they would say to you, imagined how you might respond, imagined whether your eyes would soften or stay guarded, imagined if the door they once feared to approach could actually open. And heaven has been whispering to them, go. Speak. Reveal. It's time. Listen to this, because heaven wants you to understand how deeply intertwined your paths are. You've felt their emotions because your soul is tuned to their frequency, felt their pain because your spirit is sensitive to their shift, felt their awakening because your connection was never one-sided or accidental. Soul ties don't dissolve, they evolve. And this one has been evolving in silence, preparing both of you for a moment that will reroute the emotional timeline of your lives. Don't scroll, this matters, because heaven is saying the tension you've been feeling in your spirit is the precursor to a breakthrough. The storm inside them has reached the point where movement must happen. The shift inside you has reached the point where clarity must arrive. The universe is aligning circumstances, timing, emotional readiness, and divine purpose in a way that brings you both to the threshold, your inner door, at the exact same moment. Listen to this, your heart needs reassurance. Nothing coming toward you is meant to harm you, everything coming toward you is meant to free you. Free you from unanswered questions. Free you from emotional limbo. Free you from the weight of not knowing. Free you from the patterns that kept you stuck in cycles of self-doubt or fear. Heaven is saying there is a moment approaching, a conversation, a message, a revelation, an unexpected emotional shift, that will bring light to everything that felt confusing or unresolved. Don't scroll, because your spirit already feels how close it is. Your intuition has been whispering, get ready. Your emotions have been softening, opening, preparing. Your energy has been aligning with something bigger than you can name. And heaven is saying, the knock at your inner door is no longer faint. It is here. It is now. And your life is about to shift in a way you will feel first in your spirit, then in your reality.